Good Friday morning, and welcome to, what does it say in the back of the Jeep Grand Wagoneer? Ice HTV. Hey, welcome to my internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about the cars and trucks and SUVs that I have in my life and the motorcycles as well. Here in the shop, got the Indian collection here, Indian over here. Hey, good morning there. Welcome to my channel. If you're a new subscriber or just anybody kind of, wow, here's a rider over there. If I can get my picture over both sides of that. Can you see it? He's just going down over there. But morning, if everybody tuned in, appreciate you watching my channel to hear my conversations and my morning discussions. I just talk about things in general, and hopefully you can relate with my conversations. And sometimes are my conversations big conversations, lengthy conversations? They sometimes can be, but yeah, let's talk about big. I was seeing myself this morning when I woke up, and I'm down here in Tennessee, so it's a little different routine where I'm not hanging out in my office, where I've got my little tripod set up, and I can sit down and kind of be in my own environment when I'm traveling. It changed a little bit, so I'm down here in Tennessee, and incredibly beautiful. I mean, just incredible weather. You just really couldn't ask for a better time to be here, because if anybody travels or goes on vacation, you know the weather can be a huge difference in your happiness, or not so, or happiness, I should say. Kid had a little cheer out here last night, trying to enjoy the nice evening, and it's just beautiful down here. This Tennessee area, they say it's God's country. Is that what they say? So, yeah, so I got the big SUV down here. How about that? The wife drove down the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. First time she's driven it. She really loves her Jeep Grand Cherokee L. And she was like, hey, I drove like 420 miles yesterday and I didn't even fill up. I'm like, wow. So for the Jeep Grand Wagoneer here that has the Hurricane inline-six twin turbo motor, this thing it's a lot of vehicle. It's a big vehicle. And I thought, wow, that's really impressive. So this morning I got up, I brought it down here, and she averaged over 20 miles per gallon. Yes, this Grand Wagoneer on the road with my wife driving it averaged over 20 miles per gallon. If you ask me, that's not too shabby. And I'll even show you here in a second. Gotta get my coffee. Got my little barista here in the back. Got my own little kitchen here. Got my refrigerator and got my microwave oven down here and my little toaster oven, and yeah, I got my own little thing going down, my own man cave going on down here in the the Tennessee, which I just love it. I love living downstairs here. It's dangerous. I don't even see anybody upstairs. I just stay down here. It's a big house, and that's kind of the conversation this morning. Is hasn't everything just gotten so big? I mean, sincerely, has everything around us gotten bigger? I mean, it really has, and I'll kind of keep it on the cartoons conversation. Get some ice to cool down my hot coffee here. But motorcycles, when I was growing up, did you have this at your disposal? A 116 cubic inch motor. I mean, didn't the Harleys have like the 88 cubic inch motor? And I just think, wow, it's really incredible on how far the big of getting bigger has evolved. And what's pretty cool is for these motorcycles, as big as they are, they don't feel that big. Yeah, the Indian, I just hate to say it for these Harley people. Hey, here's my Scout Indian bobber I'm selling. Yeah, I'm just gonna part with it because it's just gonna collect dust, because my kid has evolved out of that Indian Scout bobber into the Indian Super Chief. And last night I took off the big windshield. She really was kind of getting beat up yesterday, apparently. I didn't know that. Kind of concerning to me. She didn't kind of talk about that more because we're out in that highway. Got to get my coffee here. So you can look at the Indian Super Chief with the custom pinstriping that some other woman put on this motorcycle. That wasn't me. Second owned. Cool down the coffee a little bit. Definitely need our coffee. Haven't had breakfast. Up early to get things going, so I can take the wife to breakfast and the kid to breakfast. So kind of getting things in order and get my daily routine going. But had this big old windshield. I mean, that's just a wall of energy against you. And she really said this bike really kind of pushed her around. And I'm like, and I told her yesterday morning if we went riding, if you watched my long video time ever of me videoing on one of my motorcycles. I mean, I just did a lot of video. I had like 4 videos. If anybody has any interest just to see all the scenery and everything, that's all I do. Just try to create an environment maybe others get to enjoy, to see the big mountains down here. Yeah, big. It means big mountains down here. So it's kind of neat to ride along with me and see all the nice, pretty area down here in Tennessee. If you don't live in this area, you just don't know what it is. So anyway, the daughter, that's a big bike for an 18-year-old girl. My daughter's 18 years old. And that's, most people buying those bikes aren't 18-year-old girls. And so, anyways, took the windshield off, and I really think this is going to be a whole different machine for her that she's going to like a lot more. She loves the bike, but she doesn't like how in higher speeds it seems to push itself around. I'm like, yeah, well, anyways, enough about that. But yeah, the Indian Challenger, what a big, badass bike. I just can't get over the Indian Challenger product. And since I'm a Harley guy as well, and I got the CVO Harley Road Glide, I just can't emphasize enough on how the Challenger is the better of the two. This thing has such incredible power. And yesterday, I didn't even have this thing in sport mode. I didn't want to. What's really neat about this motorcycle is they have made it where you have your, let me show you here. When you battery tender your motorcycles, and if you don't battery tender your bike, and they sit, your batteries go dead. So on the most motorcycles, you have to hook up a battery connection to your battery and, plug it in. Well, for the Indian product, they kind of got pretty smart. They took a port, and they put a port right here on the bike, and you can plug your battery tender right here in the bike. It's already built into the bike. But then here's your power button, okay? And when you come up to this bike, the command ride screen, there's so much information in this thing, but it's just so cool. And, it's a motorcycle day. For anybody here kind of watch my channel, like, you're talking about your motorcycles. Well, it's because I talk a lot about my cars. We don't spend a lot of time on the motorcycles. And I just like to share information. And so here, if it'll load up, see here, this is so cool. This motorcycle has traction control option, all right? Your shock load, and if you have passengers or not. And what's doing that? And then you have rain mode, standard mode, or sport mode. That standard to sport is a huge difference on the vehicle, on how it performs. And then this gives you actually a home link option on this screen as well, where you can actually have the capability to have your garage door. I have videos on how to install the home link accessory that goes right behind this instrument cluster here. This pops out, and it's so cool. You just push this button here, and it opens your garage door. Or like my place, the garage doors, or the the gate to my property. But this here is such an infotainment center that it gives you all the information that's going on the motorcycle, which is pretty cool. Just so in depth on your tire pressures, your miles to empty, your voltage. I mean, so it's such a really, really great product, which it outdoes the Harley product. That Ride Command outdoes the ease of operating the motorcycle as far as the electronics over the Harley Davidson. And that was really cool also. If you don't have your key fob with you, you can turn the motorcycle on and the bike won't recognize a key, but it gives you an access to a keypad right in front of you, and you put your own personal keypad and you can ride the motorcycle. You can put in your personal keypad and it starts up. The Harley Davidsons, you have to go through all these elaborate pushing buttons with your turn signals to get that to work. Yeah, a lot of information. We're down here at the motorcycles, enjoying them, and it's all about big. And I thought to myself this morning, big. Has everything gotten bigger? I mean, if everybody just kind of steps back and really just looks at what's going on today more than ever in mankind, I mean, everything is bigger. Houses. I mean, when I drive around these neighborhoods, these homes are so big. I mean, I just scratch my head when I see one car in these houses. And next to us aren't the bigger the houses in this neighborhood. There's houses around here They're just massive. And you see one car. There's a house right in the street. And I just think to myself, it's incredible how big the footprint has become of so many modern homes. Yeah, and at the same time, the footprint of all these newer like condos and townhouses have gotten smaller because the builders are trying to maximize their space for their profits. But then I look at and even the wide body. I mean, look at the Dodge Challenger. They got bigger. A lot of people don't like the bigger look because they added the fender flares to them. So they have a wider stance. So just for the Dodge product got bigger. For the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, this vehicle is nothing even close to what it was back in the 70s. I mean, the Jeep Grand Wagoneer looked like looks like the Grand Cherokee in so many ways. So the Grand Wagoneer, it's even gotten bigger. And now you can get the Grand Wagoneer L, so it's even bigger. You know, different like the Suburban or the Ford Expedition Max. And so just in the cars and trucks, if you look at, when I go to these car meets and I see these Corvettes and Camaros from the 60s, you just look at the size of them, even the old Dodge Challenger and the Plymouth Cuda. And you look at the size of those vehicles and compared to today, these vehicles are just big. You look at the trucks, the new Ford Ranger truck. They just released the new Ford Ranger truck, and I'm drinking my coffee. That's what I'm doing back here, just so you know. But the new Ford Ranger pickup truck, I think that thing's bigger than a 1970s half-ton truck. The new Ford Ranger truck is every bit the size of 70s and even 80s pickup trucks. And the Ford Ranger truck, back in those days, the original J Ford series, and I'd have to honestly say that even borderline a 2009, definitely a 1997 truck, I guarantee you that Ford Ranger's just about every bit as big as that. And the new Ranger can pull close to 8,000 pounds. What do you think that thing could pull? I mean, just incredible. Look at that. GT712. That was the number 712 Ford Mustang. If you watch my channel back, and here at the end of the day, I sold it. And yeah, could I go back and buy it again? Yeah, forget that. Nope. Not going to do it. Ain't going to do it. Even this stupid. It's pretty incredible. I drive these cars. And the danger for me is I'm so exposed to so many different types of vehicles. And this car here, it definitely doesn't have like a radical 800 horsepower feel to it. And I do know with the Cadillac converters on it and the resonators and the tune, the ECM, there's so much you can do to this car to really have it come to life, which it needs all of that because it's really mundane. My GT500s were so much more fun than that car. I'm not lying. I mean, people can't stand, on the channel, that's a Mopar guy. They just can't stand it when I tell them the GT500 is more fun. It really is. And if the GT500s weren't being built anymore after like this year or something, I would not have gotten rid of them. I probably would have gotten rid of the Challenger over the GT500s. I'm not lying, because it's a more fun car. But for me, 500's going to be back. So for me, it's like, okay, that's fine. Take a time out, and when they come back, I'll just pick one up down the road. That's kind of the way I operate. Versus that, the challenge with this is you let this go, and it's done. There's no way I'm going to get this car back at any great deal. Even though a lot think that these Dodge Challengers don't have much value. I was like, okay, well, whatever. I mean, all right. Hey, I support you. I hope that everything that's bigger and more expensive gets lesser. I mean, I'm with you. Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, what isn't bigger and expenses? I mean, just think that through. The cars of vehicles, you talk about a big expense. I mean, anymore, you go back 20, 30 years ago, and these type of things, you could go down this area and buy yourself a nice house and property. Just incredible. BMW just released its XM SUV gasoline hybrid 664 horsepower M series SUV, 5,900 pounds. The thing's optioned out at $168,000. It's a gas hybrid setup. I mean, wow, is that a big car, big ticket? Here's now, hey baby, they're out. There's one. Where's the other one? He's probably in there scrounging around for cat food. Hey, baby, how are you? One thing that's not too comforting here, there's a local raccoon that hangs out here. And last night, the raccoon was out here, and thank goodness the dogs didn't see him. That'd be a big fiasco, right? Hey, baby, you gotta go to the bathroom? Huh? Come on. Go to the bathroom. Where's Scout? Scouty! Scout, how'd you escape? Where's your brother? Yeah, distractions, right? So, let me get some more coffee here. You can watch the dog, right? Yeah, so, Ram. So, Ram wants to put a 200... Where's Scout? Oh, there he is. Here, Eddie! Hi! Go to the bathroom. Good boy. So, Ram wants to put in... Hey, there's the... Morning! She has her farmer's outfit. You can do some farming today? I feel I got 20 miles to the gallon.
Only one more mile for you.
Okay, there you go. Here's the positive thoughts. All right. So, the Ram, look at Scout. He's over here looking around where the raccoon was. He was right over here. You can see. Yeah, he was right over here last night. I was hanging out with him. Cooney. No, not this morning. So,
When?
last night.
The one time you saw me?
Yeah. So, anyways, the kid freaks out in these wild animals out here. We're in the wild kingdom. Can you tell? Hey, this is the wild kingdom, right? Yeah, look out. Watch out. Tiger behind the trees. A bear is coming up the mountain. But anyways, is to have a 229 kilowatt battery in their truck, supposedly, to meet the 500-mile range. And that's what they're talking about now more than ever in the electric vehicle industry. In the domestic side here in this country, the biggest challenge they have is the consumer wants that 300-mile plus. Yeah, big one. Yeah, what do you want to know, right? The consumer wants a 300-mile plus range electric vehicle. And that's a challenge for these battery manufacturers. And Dodge or Ram supposedly is putting a 229 kilowatt battery. I mean, that's going to be massive. That's going to be a 500-mile range vehicle. But here's the thing. If you run that thing down, let's just say you use I'm stuttering this morning, right? Yeah. So let's just say that you take that vehicle and you run it down to the last 29 kilowatts, and you want to go recharge it to 200 kilowatts? I mean, I just can't. At a supercharging station? Hey, come here. Hey, Julia, keep an eye on him. He's out here in the back. So how long is it going to take to replenish the energy in that? And how much is that going to be? That's going to be a $100 bill. That's going to be a big bill. That's the thing. As time progresses, I just so believe that anybody on the page to the right, he's over there. Oh, he is now. Okay. So anybody thinks that their big savings on their electric vehicle, good luck on that. I mean, it just isn't going to happen. And you think that you're really going to transition from the ice age to the EV age, and you're going to save all this money because you don't go to the gas station anymore. It's just, it's such a big, is it a big more than ever? I mean, are we right now in the biggest times of our life being misled? Sincerely, right now, if you think about it, we are in the biggest CO2 carbon dioxide movement in our lifetime. We are in the biggest green agenda movement ever in our lifetime. The biggest ever. Anybody see the movie Big with Tom Hanks, where he's a 12-year-old kid? This is back from, I guess, the 90s, the 80s, where Tom Hanks was supposed to be like a little boy, 12 years old, and he wanted, remember your kid, you always wish for things, you had these little dreams. So apparently he had this big dream. He wanted to be basically on Wall Street or work for a big company and grow up and be a mature person overnight. And apparently his dream was granted to him, and he went from being a 12-year-old kid to being a 33-year-old employee of a toy company, Macmillan Toy Company out of New York. And apparently he rose up through the company because of his such the kid's perception of what's fun for toys. And he rose to be very successful there, but he wasn't happy. He missed his childhood of just being simple, and so what he wished for ended up being what he regretted. Wow. I mean, you think to yourself, boy, could that movie be an example of where we're going in today's society? That all this big movement, more than ever, that is people wanting to change the way things run and operate. And, the ESG, economic, social, and governance, that whole movement is, beyond, we all know. I mean, okay, so it's all, in so many ways, some people think we've witnessed the biggest bank failures tied into that, that, I guess, reasoning and logic and ideology, and the list goes on and on and on. I mean, are we seeing the biggest bank failures in the most recent times? I mean, hello? I mean, are we seeing the biggest illegal immigration influx in our country in recent times? Are we seeing the biggest fentanyl deaths, drug-related deaths in recent times? Are we seeing the biggest crime surge in recent times? Are we seeing the disrespect for others beyond believable in recent times? Are we seeing the division of the social media creating the race divisions and the media, the big media machine, more than ever? I mean, are we seeing the big media that's in so many ways persuading people to look at things that maybe isn't the way you're supposed to look at things? I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, it's big, right? I mean, we're living, I think, more than ever in today's society in the biggest challenges in, I would have to say, in most people's lives, because of what we're being challenged with, of what to believe versus what we don't want to believe, and what for us to change and what we don't want to change. And that's a lot of conversation on all this electric, the EV, the green agenda. There's so many people out there. There's a next big thing here in this Inflation Reduction Act, the new Green Deal guidelines, is these major power companies have to become carbon footprint free. They got to be net zero by 2050, 2035, all these big dates. And so many of these big companies are just shaking their head like they just can't see how it's economically feasible to do this. And there's a power plant up in Saskatchewan, Canada, that's using carbon capture for the coal plant. It's now been running since 2014. It's 9 years old. And this is a big operator of energy plants up here in Canada, and they're just shaking their head. And it's a cause and effect. You capture carbon dioxide out of this coal plant, and you got to capture it, but then you got to get rid of it. And getting rid of it, they put it back into water to use for oil drilling, and then they use the captured carbon dioxide and they put it in underground storage. It just doesn't go away. And the expenses to do this is through the roof. And so the owner of the power plant, they're all saying, like, this just doesn't really work. It isn't really feasible. And they're not even going to meet the guidelines that are being enforced by Canada. And to their point, they're just saying, we're probably just have to go nuclear. Or they're going to go wind and solar. But they're just like, this pipe dream of capturing this carbon dioxide out of these fossil fuel power plants, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. There's just the continued cause and effect of what man created. It's just incredible for mankind, for the energy factor, for mankind to stop walking around, from stop living in tents and, and freezing and being too hot. And the list goes on and on and on. What mankind has created to create energy through the carbon dioxide, footprint is big. And the transition away from that is even bigger. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to kind of leave it at that. I'm down here in Tennessee, and I've got a lot of big projects to do. I've got to take got a to-do list to do things, and I got the kid sitting here in front of me, and I got the wife's going to be sitting in front of me, and they're going to get a big attitude because we're going to get a big breakfast. And what are we doing today? And anybody, if anybody out there knows somebody wants to buy a nice Indian Scout with 985 miles on it, that's a beautiful bike, let me know. Reach out to me. I'm trying to get close. I've got it listed for $14,999. Yeah, I know. Somebody say $14,000. Well, for the record, somebody said $14,000. I'd take it. The bike itself, when you buy these bikes, it's a big. The dealership will say it's $13,999 or $14,500, and then they're going to add on your freight and setup. You add that in, then add your taxes, but then you got to buy the crash bars. That's $350. Then you got to buy the saddlebag that I put on it, and that's another basically $200-$300 with the bracket. And then the exhaust, that's $600-$800, and then the little rear seat pad and the little rear backrest. Okay, so you just start adding all this stuff up. For me, I'm into this bike for at least $17,000 $18,000. So it has one little blemish on it. Has a little these mirrors. They hit the tank if you don't understand how to manage those mirrors. So it has a little scratch there, but that's it. Beautiful bike, and the kid loves the Indian. No, she doesn't want to get a video right now. Did you hear that? All right. So, anyways, the kid just loves the Super Chief. She really does. So, anyways, all right, buddy. Hey, thanks. Look at that, 2 CVOs, and I've got 4 Indians. See the 4 Indian thing? Well, I have 5 right now, but if I sell that, I have 4. Don't tell the wife. My wife's always like, how many motorcycles do you have? All right, that's a question with a big answer that I'm not going to do right now, right? All right, everybody, hey, thanks for watching my channel, and stay tuned for more adventures. We can do any more riding today. We should. It's a beautiful day. Storms are coming this afternoon, but we'll see how the day plays out. So stay tuned, stay safe, God bless, and have a great day.